I first found out about the GRFP from my advisors. Dr. Lockheed had a student, Christian Anderson, who had gotten the GRFP, and so they recommended I apply. And I heard about it again through the graduate school and the workshops, and again through a professional development class. So I heard about it in a few venues around campus.
So the writing process was extensive, I guess. I started about a year before with scratch writing and applying as an undergraduate. I wanted to figure out first what I wanted to work on. I had no idea, so I didn't come in as a graduate student. And that's really where it started, was that writing process. And then I continued from there, just a lot of scratch notes with as I read through papers and figured out what I wanted to do. And then I have everything synced, so I use like Google Drive and OneNote and synced everything so that if I was in the lab, I would type it up there. But sometimes I was sitting in the bus and you know, some wording would come to me of how I wanted to rephrase something, and I would just type it on my phone and have all of that. And I put it all together within the last maybe 3 months of when it was due, and really made it into something formal.
I found out about the GRFP in September, and it was due in November, so I started right away as soon as I heard about it and decided to go for it. And the way I got started was pretty much free writing, and I would just, when I had time, write, you know, my thoughts and little snippets of my research ideas, and that's how I started. And then that eventually turned into an outline and became a more rigid, you know, form of writing that turned into this really formal application.
A lot of people helped me. Well, for one, my mentor, like reviewing it. Dr. Gates also helped me. A sister, well, my sister who was also applying and who had applied for a different program previously and had won, also helped me, I guess, review stuff. And other people just reviewing it, I guess, grammar and all that stuff, and like relevant stuff that I should be writing or not. So yeah, a lot of people helped me, I would say.
I had help from my advisors, and they gave me the overall framework to work in. The other help I received was definitely looking at websites from other GRFP applicants that there's a lot of material out on the web. It's really great, and you can find other personal statements, other research objectives, even with the critique that they received from the NSF, which was very helpful. I also received help from previous NSF graduate applicants that were willing to look at my work and make it bleed, so to speak. And also a postdoc in my office, Sandra Villarreal, who was a great help in helping me edit, since I'm very verbose and I had to cut things down from 5 pages to 2 or 3 pages. So that's a lot of the help I received.
Find people who can help you with your application, specifically with the essays, the 2 essays that you have to write to apply. I know that it asks for at least 3 recommendation letters, but they have an option of 5. I remember my mentor like, oh no, we should find you 5, not just 3. So like, I believe, I would assume that also helped a lot. So just maybe not just do the things that they ask you, but maybe a little more if they give you that option. So.
Get started early, because it's a lot more work than it seems. You have 2 essays to write, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but they're not normal essays, and they take a lot of thought. The personal essay, I think, is harder because we're told, you know, you grow up being told to be modest, be very modest, don't show off, don't be arrogant. But I think that's a big thing there, is just dropping all of that for that while you're writing that, because you're really trying to sell yourself. And if you're too modest, it's not going to make you look like the person that needs to be selected for it. So you drop that and you highlight all your strengths, but you don't hide your weaknesses either. I feel like that's a big point, is to point out your weaknesses, but also that you are able to overcome them. And then also to just get help and not feel like you're doing it alone. Because even though you are doing most of it on your own, it's a lot easier and a lot better. You're going to end up with a better product if you actually ask for help, and that's another big thing, is asking. And don't be afraid to ask everybody. And I asked a lot of people for help just to read through, and some people didn't have time, and that was fine, because that's the worst you're going to get is, I'm sorry, I don't have time. So there's no reason to fear doing that.
Definitely find out early, start early. Don't be afraid to get editing help and advice, and don't be afraid to rewrite things if you have to. And definitely write with passion. Don't be afraid to break the technical writing jargon and write a little bit more passion in your personal statement. And yeah, be brave, go for it. That'd be my best advice. You have maybe a 10 to 12% chance of getting funded, but if you don't go for it, you have a 0% chance. So you might as well go for it, see what happens.